I've always been known to be a realistic man, a calm man, a collected man, a man not to overreact. With that being said, I would like to congratulate Ian and the Orange Papaya on 2025 Drivers and Constructors Championship. It's lights out and away we go for episode 168 of the Eaton Asphalt podcast. Ian, I think you could technically do better, but I think like probably your feelings are going into the weekend. You probably couldn't expect too much more from that. I mean, that was fantastic for the McLaren team.
Yeah, I'm not under any circumstances that this is I'm not under any impression that this is a sure bet, but it does
Mm,
feel good coming out of even Max Verstappen's talking to Lando Norris. He got picked up on a mic being like, yeah, congrats on winning the championship. Like you guys are going to be the faster ones this year by far. It's like, oh, dude, me? Little old us, dude?
yeah, dude. I mean, it was like pretty obvious. Like, I mean, we saw it in testing too, and I thought it was just like, hey, you know, the other ones, they're not really like putting all their best foot forward. But yeah, I guess they had been in testing. That's probably what it's for. And yeah, I mean, this could be a problem if something. I mean, we've seen crazy things happen before, and teams kind of come back to earth, or other teams that didn't perform well. But I hope, as a non-McLaren fan, that this is not the trajectory that we're going to see for the rest of the year.
And I hope it is, brother.
Yep, yep. So we will obviously cover it all on this episode. We have a 2-for-1 this episode of the podcast. We have our hot lap recap provided by Ian, our fastest thoughts presented by TikTok, winners and losers of the Australian Grand Prix, our gambling predictions recap, Chinese Grand Preview, country fun facts, and then our predictions and gambling for the Chinese Grand Preview. It's a big slate that we have, so let's just get right into it.
Bang, bang. All right, let's kick it off recapping the Australian Grand Prix weekend. So the main stories from practice were basically just that Williams looked quick and Ollie Behrman did not get to practice or qualify. He crashed in P1, which means he couldn't do P2, beached his car in P3, and did not start for quali and started P20. So basically, he just started the weekend with the lights out on Sunday. Quali brought a shocking result for the newest arrivals from Mercedes and Red Bull, both Liam Lawson and Andrea Kimi Antonelli going out in Q1. And then both Williams made it into Q3. So both Ferraris were right next to each other in P7 and P8. McLaren had their first of hopefully many front row lockouts this season. Max Verstappen right behind them, which caused trouble for them in the race. And speaking of the race, Isaac Hadjar, the rookie, went into the wall in the formation lap after just one corner of the formation lap. Jack Doohan was our second rookie to fall just 6 corners into the race. Carlos Sainz hit the wall during the safety car for Jack Doohan, which gave us our third driver out of the race without completing a full lap of racing. We had to wait until 7 or 8 laps in to get a full lap of racing. Fernando crashed his car. Liam didn't make it through to the end of the race. So we had rain on and off, which was a key sticking point of this race. Like what are the best tires to use? Lewis got his first taste of Ferrari decision making when the team took a gamble not to put on inters, came back and bit them for the overall result of that. And then the last notable thing that I saw, swiped away my gambling per usual. So to start 0-2, we'll get to gambling later. But Oscar in P2 looked like he had an easy podium wrapped up, which is kind of cool because that would have been a really nice front row lockout in P1, P2 for McLaren, but slid across the grass and was cool. It was like silver lining of this. He backed up onto the asphalt. I really like that move. Show that you don't give up, right? Us papaya, we don't give up when things get tough, and we don't get a front row lockout in P1 and P2. Lando Norris came home with the win. Verstappen and Russell behind him, which made for an interesting cool down room, right? The future world champion and the seemingly still divorced, bickering couple in that cool down room with Max Verstappen and George Russell. And that was the Australian hot lap recap.
All right, I love it. My fastest thought is gonna be a quick one. We are gonna see George Russell booted from Mercedes in 2026. I say
Wow.
this because I think here's my little, tinfoil hat. Kimmy's going to outperform George this year. You're going to see more of like the kind of pissy George that we saw when him and Max were bickering all last year, and you kind of saw that like, hey, George might be kind of like not a cool dude. And then we're going to say, hey, let's go with Kimmy. We're going to bring in Max, and we're going to see a Mercedes, Max, and Kimmy going on next year. George is going to get kicked out because Kimmy is a better driver.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. And that is my fastest thoughts presented by TikTok. Let's move on to our winners and losers.
Meow. All right. As this was one of, I mean, probably the best opening race we've seen in several years, we had a lot of winners. So I'm going to start with my first winner is going to be the fans. Can't really ask for a better first season or first race of the season. Entertainment value was incredible. 6 DNFs, four of them new drivers, four different teams in the top four, seven different teams, or sorry, seven different teams in the top eight is a better way to say that. Racing gods have really just smiled upon us and given us a wonderful gift with the F1 season back in action here. It's really never, I mean, in recent history, it's never been a better time to be an F1 fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much it is because of the weather this weekend, but I'm going to chalk it up to Australia, and then we need to open up with Australia every year.
Every other race, Australia.
Yeah, yeah, just like when things start looking bad, we're like, hey, we're gonna head back.
Kimi Antonelli, I have as a winner for the weekend going from P6 to P4. Certainly a memorable way to make your debut. Definitely the best day that a rookie had on Sunday. But yeah, I like it's better to start P16 and then go to P4 than to start P6 and go to P4. Like, I think he
Mm-hmm.
did it right. It's a way better, you make a way bigger splash like that. And now the reaction on social media is like, this kid's special. This kid's going to win the
Mm-hmm.
championship in the next couple of years. And it's like, that's all you need to do. If he was P5, P7 to P4, people would be like, yeah, he's got a good car. But man,
Mm-hmm.
P16 to P4, making up 12 positions. What a guy.
Chestnut checkers, yeah,
Exactly.
and to see like the discord between Saturday, like I guess the timing's messed up in Australia, but
Yeah.
Saturday when the quals was in, like, oh gosh, Kimmy can't even make it into Q3. This is going to be a real problem. A lot of negative talk on slander on Kimmy, and then for him to turn around and just be like, wow, he just dominated the field right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's I hope is a force to be reckoned with. Kind of an aside on this. This is what I noticed from him this weekend. He talks a ton with his tongue. I think it's from his like I don't know, like his dialect and everything like that. Look, he does very heavy, a lot of tongue movement, and I can't stop looking. Like once I noticed it, I was like, "This is it. This is all I'm going to see when I see him talk."
I now, yeah, now you're gonna poison my brain like that. No,
Yeah, I hope I'm not the only one. You're like, dude, what are you talking about? I need you to be like, dude, this is a problem now.
this is crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of talking crazy, Zach Brown, a winner of the weekend. It's almost like any team principal that's on top has to be like an annoying douchebag. And his comment was, "Hey, Yuki did a great job. Probably the guy that should be in the Red Bull if you look out at how he's performed. But they seem to make some strange driver choices from time to time. Like, kick a team while they're down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you know that they're not happy with the result. You know that they're not happy with their trajectory, and he's just rubbing salt in the wound. It's a page directly out of a Christian Horner book.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to do it to a team, the one team I'm okay with him doing it to is Red Bull.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I did very much enjoy that.
No one deserves it more than them. And then no one deserves success more than Sauber. The Sauber fans have had quite the drought in the last year. They are coming in as as my last winner. They have now scored more points in one weekend than they have in the entire 2024 season. Nico Hulkenberg, P6. P6 for Nico Hulkenberg. Beat both Ferraris. I saw he was the only other, Nico Hulkenberg, the only driver to race for Haas and then continue in Formula One. Every other Haas
Wow.
is essentially Formula
The
One
graveyard.
graveyard.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you got to be feeling on top of the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, the story isn't ended. I saw some rumors on Cadillac that Nikita may be a guy that potentially comes in. So who knows?
Who
Maybe
does
you got to take away that stat.
it? Maybe enough time has passed with the whole Russia thing.
Hey, I mean, they're about to get everything's about to be solved over there. I think he can, obviously his race pace was good enough that he deserves a seat in Formula One, right?
Wasn't he going to do boxing? Where's Nikita? I think he was going to be in like a celebrity boxing thing.
Ah, nice. I mean, sure. Okay. I know he did like fighting people, so that makes sense.
Any other winners on your side?
Winners I have on my side, Yuki just looked fantastic. I'm gonna go. You said Kimmy. Toto, I think looked fantastic. All of last year, all he got to hear, all Formula One talked about is Ferrari leaving Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton leaving Mercedes for Ferrari. What are you going to do, Toto? That like, how could he leave you? And then he comes in and, I mean, obviously one race in, but for like you said, Kimmy to do what he did, George to be on the podium, it's got to be a pretty good feeling to be like, you know what? I'm pretty happy with my two drivers here. So that the last person I was going to say as a winner is going to be Checo Perez because he's got to be like, dude, not just me,
I told you.
you know?
You all laughed at me. You
Yeah.
all laughed at me.
So yeah, I mean, Liam, a opening weekend to forget for him. And yeah, I mean, just again, I don't know if this is second driver's seat curse, but it is starting the season off showing that it might be.
Yeah. At some point, Red Bull are going to have to make a decision of whether they want to have a happy Max Verstappen or compete with two drivers. Like, because they
I
might have
mean,
to just switch the regs on the cars to be like a little more not just Max focused. But
yeah, that makes sense. You're just like, hey, we're not going to just gear this car specifically to every one of your needs and be like, let's make it a little for other drivers are like preferred a little bit too.
and that's right when Max just bops over to Mercedes
Yeah,
and
he's like, oh, you're gonna change the car on me? Yeah, right.
all right. Speaking of the Red Bull garage, let's talk about Helmet Marko when we talk about losers. Helmet Marko called it embarrassing when Isaac Hadjar was crying after not getting to race in his season debut. Like, it's the guy's dream, you know? It's like it's the guy's like the biggest moment of his life that he's leading up to. He gets emotional because he doesn't even get to see the lights out. Helmet Marko, I was thinking about this. Like, what fictional character would you associate with Helmet Marko? I landed on Joffrey Lannister from Game of
Oh,
Thrones. If Joffrey Lannister grew into a grumpy old geriatric man,
mm,
Helmet is 81 years old.
yeah.
81 years old. He's too old to be doing anything other than being retired. Like, I think he's just a big gas bubble right now that's just making him like upset. I think he's just mad that that he's like still working. So I think someone needs to relieve him of his duties and let him live out his days in peace. That is that is what the angel on my shoulder is saying. The devil on my shoulder is saying we need a villain in Formula One that everyone can point to be like that guy,
Yeah.
specifically that guy. And I think Helmet Marko fills that role brilliantly.
Yeah. I mean, he feels it so much it's like pouring out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a stat correction for when you were talking about Isaac. You said that guy, it's a kid.
That,
That's even crazier. It's like, hey, this rookie, his first race, he is what, like fucking 19? And he's like crashes within before the race even starts, and he's like, oh, what a little crybaby over here. It's like, yeah, dude. I mean, this kid is going through it a little bit, yeah, and it shows that he cares, and he's like really putting his heart and soul into this. I actually had this as well. My only thing I had on this is what does Helmet do?
he's the guy. He's the
He's
big
just
old
there.
guy.
He's just hanging around. Like he's hanging around to be like, hey, just say outlandish stuff. Go on the podium. Actually, they don't even let him talk to the press. He's like, I have to find like side press to talk to and say these outlandish comments and rude asshole comments about my own team every time.
He's just like a hired gun for chaos and like rude things to say. I wouldn't be surprised if like he's not allowed in the media pen and he does have to just like shout
Oh
mean
yeah,
things from like 50 feet away.
yeah. Like the press is like leaving the like the reporting section, and he's like, hey, come here, come here. I gotta get this off my chest, man. Also, I mean, I think Red Bull might be doing like actually in on this. How many times are we talking about Christian Horner and his, his shit that's going on? I know that got brought up back up a couple weeks ago. No one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about Helmet Marko and his crazy things he's saying.
That's so true. That's such a good point. Um, Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about another loser. Lewis Hamilton is probably the bigger loser of the weekend. Welcome to Ferrari, P10. He did get a point, but P10 in the race for Lewis. Ferrari in the constructors are only ahead of teams that have 0 points and behind in every team that has points. Strategy call heard as result pretty much sums it up. I like to think that Lewis Hamilton is sitting in a $200,000 mattress with a thread count that is only available to people with a net worth of over $400 million, tossing and turning, kind of doing the thing where he rolls over, gets his phone, writes out a text to Toto Wolff, and then deletes it for a sleepless night, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I agree with what you're saying. I don't have to comment on that anymore though.
That's why we can move on. And then my last one, a little more lighthearted. Trophies around Lando Norris. Lando knocked over his Australia trophy. It's just like this guy hates trophies. This guy just wants to break all the trophies.
Yeah, I mean, it took him so long to get like a real trophy that, you'd think, hey, he doesn't like him, and then when he does get him, he still breaks him. So like, maybe what if he starts losing on purpose because he's like, "Dude, I just can't stand these things."
These trophies piss me off.
It's really messed up. Um, all right, my only two other losers. I'm going to bring it back to again, not current drivers. Ronnie Zhou and Valtteri Bottas is on the other side of your winner. That's just a tough look where you're like, hey guys, like it's just the car stunk so bad. I'm sure you can show improvements from year over year, but to go from 5 points all of last year, 4 points all of last year
Or,
to
yep.
six in one race, I don't think it was probably necessarily 100% the car. Some would say Mercedes is probably looking at Valtteri as the reserve driver and like, oh, I don't know, dude. I
You
don't know what
know,
that is one.
Valtteri Bottas, the only driver at Mercedes to make it into every single Q3 that
Mm-hmm.
he's ever been in. Every
Yeah,
qual.
that was an incredible stat. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, Mr.
So,
Saturday.
Mr. Saturday, exactly. All right, that does it for winners and losers. That was a long one, but that was a good one. That was fun. Let's go to our gambling predictions recap next. All right, we had so much fun in winners and losers that we don't really need to spend too much time on this. I had Carlos Sainz in the points within like 4 laps of the race.
Yeah,
Oscar Piastri on the podium, absolute lock, minus 105, better odds than Carlos Sainz in the points. And then he went sliding, just kind of like skimboarding across the lawn. So 0 and 2 for me, down 2 units. Marco?
yeah. I you called this a hater pick. This was just um, like I needed to respect Lando more. I took the field over Lando minus 250, 2 units there. I just got to understand now. Don't underestimate McLaren. Don't underrate Lando this year specifically. So I'm also down 2 units, but 0 and 1, not 0 and 2. So
That's
got
true.
to take your victories anywhere you can.
Yeah, you are beating me right now. So, bummer. All right, let's leave Australia, all the fun that it was in the rear view. And let's look forward to Chinese Grand Prix here with Marco giving us our Chinese Grand Prix view.
All right, the China Grand Prix. This is a little outside of Singapore. This circuit's pleasing form when it's seen in the air. So they actually made the circuit to look like the Chinese symbol Shang, which means upwards. Um, while they say that's what they made it, it looks to me like a girl doing yoga. So yeah, feel free to take a look at that. Um, Equally as pleasing to me. Drivers are a big fan of this. There's a very unique start to the race as drivers fly into this like very, very tight turns 1 and 2 before they dart left to 3 and 4. So like turns 1 through 3 is like basically this full mini circle before going into turn 4. Then you take that into turn 6, which is like a hairpoint turn, then onto turn this super high force G force turn 7 and 8. Big fan of the drivers, kind of the swooping part of the circuit. I call this the boob of the girl doing yoga.
Yep.
That's what all the experts kind of call it. The circuit also features one of the longest straights in the calendar, this 1.2 kilometer stretch that separates turns 13 and 14. Then 14 goes into another hairpoint onto 16 to onto from 16 to turn 1 is another pretty long straight. So very, very unique looking track circuit. I would definitely take a look if you have not seen it. I'm pretty spot on also on what this looks like. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I can see it very clear.
yeah. And that does it. While we move on from that, we're going to move on to our country fun facts, our China country fun facts.
All right, country fun facts in the form of two truths and a lie. So we want to educate you about China, as is our duty as Formula One podcasters. We're going to tell you about this country in the form of two truths and a lie. Marco, I'm going to go first here. I have three truths, but one of them's a lie. I got underwear, theme park, and caves. Sounds kind of like a lit weekend, actually. Underwear. Number one, people often wear black underwear in China during their zodiac year to ward off bad luck. Number two, theme park. China has a dwarf theme park called Kingdom of the Little People, where over 100 dwarves perform various acts, including singing and dancing. And number three, caves. Over 35 million people in China still live in caves, which is a remarkable fact considering the country's rapid modernization. Which one is the lie? Underwear, theme park, or caves?
Uh, I know that there's a ton of them over there, but 35 million within caves seems atrocious. I'm going to go
That
that
is
one.
that is actually true.
All right. I think I used that last year too. And I was like, was it that many? Was it that many? I, the little people?
Little people is also true.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. So that's a good sign. That's a good culture sign of culture where you have stuff that's so incredulous about your culture that you have a dwarf theme park called Kingdom of the Little People. I need to stop looking up Kingdom of the Little People on my Google search because I am my FBI agent that monitors. It's gonna be like, dude, what are you doing?
Relax on this. All right. Well, you nailed it. You got me good. All right. My turn. Two truths and a lie, three truths and no lies on this one. I have afterlife, clocks, and police.
Okay.
So, all right. Afterlife. It's rather unfortunate if you lived in China and were planning to run it back after your first life, as reincarnation is forbidden without government permission in China. Police. Rather than your typical police dog, geese are actually used as police animals due to their aggressive nature, while dogs are just used as dinner dishes. And our last one, clocks. China has the most time zone amongst all other countries, with 9, making it very difficult for work.
I don't think China's in 9 time zones. I'm gonna go with the last one. I think that one's the lie.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it has one, which is I think pretty freaking crazy.
What? One time zone?
Chinese time zone. That's it. Covers it all.
Okay. I feel like it's way too big for one time zone, but
Yeah, no, that seems very difficult.
yeah. All right. Well, good stuff. Nailed it. Go me. All right, let's wrap up and send the people off into the weekend with our predictions, our wild card prediction, and gambling. All right, Marco, you go first.
Okay, predictions. Here we go. I am gonna do Albon over Signs plus 105, 1 unit there, and I'm gonna ride the hot hand. Kimmy over George, half a unit there plus 300.
Okay.
I gotta put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
You know, fastest thoughts. I can't just be saying crazy stuff. I gotta put some money behind this.
All right. Love that. I got 3, but I'm gonna do half a unit on 2 of them. So also 2 units. I'm gonna give Kimi Antonelli. I just went top 6. So I'm gonna go 1 unit minus 110. I'm gonna bet Norris winner. That's plus 100, but I'm gonna do half a unit there. And then Liam Lawson in the points minus 125. That seems like a sucker bet to me, so I'm also gonna just do a half unit there. So Antonelli top 6, Norris winner, Lawson in the points.
I mean, that is as 3-0 as I've ever seen. That's good. Nice.
Thank you. And then my wild card prediction, I think that after this, I don't think. My wild card prediction is that after this race, every team will have scored points in the field. So right now we need Alpine, which Gasly got P11, so they're not that far away. Racing Bulls, Yuki got P12, and we haven't seen if Isaac can race yet. But Yuki qualified P5. And then Haas is going to be the tough one. Haas is where this one gets to be a real
Yeah.
in the wild card zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I said Lando's outside the top eight. I said I should put respect in his name. But you know what? I gotta try one more time. And then if he wins again, I'll for sure respect him totally. We'll never do that again.
All right. Yeah. And is this top eight just on merit or just top eight like because if he spins out or something and then races and then gets P9, that's within. I guess that's
Yeah, I don't know how we can
yeah.
quantify merit,
Yeah.
you know?
Without a spin. Yeah.
Mine is no spin.
No, no
We
going
can
off
throw it in
track.
there, we can talk about it.
All right. Well, we probably won't need it because Lando's going to win every race this year. So, all right. I think that's it, everybody. This is a little bit of a long one, but hopefully it was worth it. I had fun, so it's important.
You had fun this weekend, you had fun today, dude. Like you're living life.
This is only going to come crash and burn on me so bad. This is going to be like by
No, dude, it's already wrapped up. Pop the champagne. You're fine.
summer
Max says
break.
it. I say it. Everyone says it.
Me, Max, everyone's dude.
I will say, I mean, these new rules going into China. I don't know if you saw this. If I crack down on your little cheating mini DRS, could be a couple of hundredths of a second.
No comment. Have a good
Yep.
race weekend, everybody. We'll see you on the other side of the Chinese Grand Prix.
See ya.
See you assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.